As the reinsurance industry converges on Monte Carlo for the annual Rendezvous de September conference, top of mind for many attendees will be how to draw more capital into the industry by improving ROI. I'm Meg Green from Insurance Insider, and joining us now is Charles Clarke, Group Vice President for Guidewire Analytics. Hi, Charles. Thanks for speaking with me today.
Hi, Meg. Our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
So what should the reinsurance industry be thinking about to reduce expenses?
Yeah, I mean, all of our clients are talking to us about expense, and I suppose the position we have and what we hear from our customers is that it's frustrating for our clients' executives to see so much friction in the industry that we serve. Our industry is full of friction, and by some estimates, that frictional expense makes up about 30 cents for every dollar of premium that flows through the industry. And this might seem strange for a technology company or somebody from a technology company to be saying, but I think a large part of the problem is the expense on technology. The industry spends an awful lot of money on technology. And I think there are two things that reinsurance companies can think about to help solve this problem. One, to focus an awful lot of energy on optimizing that return on investment. It's not sufficient to just buy this technology and assume it will be used. Companies need to put some focus kind of post-purchase on making sure that the information, the systems, the workflow, whatever it is, finds it into the hands of the right people. And I think that can, trite as it might sound, have a material impact on the return on investment. It's more of a mindset shift. And then the second thing is to focus on the frictional costs and technology solutions to those frictional costs. A lot of the technology solutions we see in the industry, and I suppose this goes right back to the early 90s with the cat modeling companies, is around kind of point-in-time decision support technologies, answering a question at a point in time. And that actually that adds frictional cost. An underwriter has to look at 10 screens before writing a risk. A claims adjuster has to look at 5 screens before figuring out whether or not they're going to settle or what they're going to pay for the claim. And I think that has kind of counterintuitively caused this problem. And I'll give you 2 examples of where I think this is kind of quite obvious. One, retail broker space. Broker portals are a great thing, but a retail broker now cannot send its submission to as many markets as it wants to. It has to log onto a broker portal, maybe it gets to 4 of them, enters its data, and that is increasing inefficiency in the industry. What would happen if we had a programmatic rate quote bind solution? So brokers could send their information and markets could send the quotes straight back. I think that would dramatically decrease the frictional cost of the industry and massively increase the return on investment in capital. Similarly for reinsurance brokers, they employ small armies of people to cleanse data, big BPO operations, offshore. Again, if we spent some time thinking about solutions to the frictional problems, I think the general ROI and technology for the industry would be far greater. The return on investment for the capital, to our capital providers would be far greater, and all of the follow-on benefits that has for our industry.
How can insurers, reinsurers, and brokers improve the ROI in technology?
Yeah, and sort of touched on this in answering your first question. I think for me that there's another mindset that we might embrace that would help with this. A lot of our clients are really good at handling structured data, proprietary data, and are really good at making their solutions, their technology intraoperable. We have many customers who mix like SAP data with Salesforce data with proprietary data and then put it all up into a data platform, Snowflake, or there are myriad solutions out there. But again, this notion of proprietary data, I think, gets in the way. I mean, like if you think about Lloyd's and the way they handle syndicated risk, the data is the same, or the information about the risk for each of the syndicates is exactly the same. And I think there are ways that we might change our mindset to change from an intraoperable approach to an interoperable approach, and that would have many benefits. If you think about retail banking, for instance, they have Swift, which is sort of the native digital infrastructure that payments are made for the banking industry, and we don't really have an equivalent in insurance. And I do wonder sometimes if we should, or if we should strive towards that. We'd get rid of data shared via emails. The insurtechs, I don't know how many insurtechs are out there these days, but they struggle. They struggle for a return on investment because the carriers that they sell to focus on intraoperability, not integrating the insights that they get from these oftentimes brilliant pieces of intellectual property into the hands of the people that they need. And I mean, that sounds like a a lot, and it sounds like I'm quite down on what we as an industry do. I'm not. I'm really quite positive. I think there are things that we can do that will really help. We talk about eating elephants quite a lot at Guidewire. Like, it's a really big problem, an elephant of a problem. And I think if you look at this elephant, you kind of scared. I'm not going to be able to eat this whole thing, but you can approach it piecemeal. Another set of imagery would be rewiring a house. Like, it's a big job to rewire a house. It's a really big job to rewire an industry. But if you maybe put Wi-Fi in that house, or if you change a smart thermostat for that house, you start to address the problem. You start to improve a ROI on the investment in technology. You start to see benefits. The return on investment on the capital for our backers improves. I think we can get there a little piece at a time.
So is there any chance that the large language models we're hearing so much about, like the chat GPTs, can they play a role in this?
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of topic du jour, right? Everybody's interested in generative AI and how that might change the world's economy. And I think in many parts of the economy, it will be revolutionary. For insurance, I see more of an evolution. Our industry has actually been really quite good at adopting AI and ML solutions. We price, we rate, we screen, we detect fraud, we triage claims, all using techniques that have been around for quite a while. And I think large language models have the potential to impact some of those. And they also have the impact to change the way that we interact with our customers, be they personal lines customers, chatbots on websites, or commercial lines customers, where we can start to build solutions in a slightly different way using this technology. The place I do think that might be revolutionary for the industry is the application of large language models to dealing with unstructured data. We mentioned it a second ago. The industry is really good at handling proprietary structured data. It's less good at handling unstructured data. And we store a treasure trove of information about our insurers. I mean, I think mortgage providers might be the only other industry that requires so much information to make a purchase. Certainly for primary insurance, when we don't take advantage of that. And I think large language models, because of their contextual awareness, could reap great rewards for those that manage to employ them to look through unstructured data. It's a bit like a Star Trek transporter. Like, they have an ability, or they can catch this information. If you beam this information up on one side of a risk transfer, you can it reassembles the information, aware of the context, and knows exactly where to put this data for use, for good return on investment, back to the topic at the beginning.
Charles, thanks so much for speaking with me today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Mike.
We've been speaking with Charles Clarke, Group Vice President for Guidewire Analytics. For Insurance Insider, I'm Meg Green.